How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today is a very good day because one of my friends asked me if they could leave their car at my shop. And I said yes, but on one condition. I have to be able to make a video about it. And they said yes. And here she is. Today is going to be a really good day. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I do this stuff from time to time, meaning drive the cars instead of getting my hands dirty. And today is going to be a very special day because I don't really know anything about this car. I haven't actually driven it. This is not my car. It is Tyler Hoover's car of Hoovie's Garage. What you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is the cheapest Mclaren MP4-12C in the country. And unlike my haggard examples of everything cheap, this is seemingly a bargain. I can't tell why it was so cheap. Now, this is not exactly cheap by any sort of normal standard. This was still a six-figure car. I believe Tyler paid somewhere around $100,000 for this car. And the best part about it, well, the best part about it for him is the fact that this has a warranty. It's a bumper-to-bumper warranty for about a year. And anything that goes wrong with the engine or drivetrain or anything at all has to be handled by McLaren. And that's a good and a bad thing, meaning that if something does go wrong, you don't have your car, but you also don't have to pay that huge bill. In addition, one of the major components of this car that sets it apart from any other car is the fact that it was one of the first, if not the first, with a carbon fiber monocoque tub. This entire panel is just one carbon fiber piece. Well, a bunch of carbon fiber pieces kind of glued together, but it's not made of aluminum. And let's see if I can open this door. Hey, first try. Look at that. Also, billionaire doors, check that out. That is, that never gets old. But you can see the carbon fiber tub right here. You can see the exposed carbon, and it looks amazing. What happens, though, when you have a carbon fiber tub is that the sill is huge, so you have to make it over this big hump to get into the cockpit. You also have these carbon accents on the sides, you have carbon accents on the back, and this wonderful glass partition where you can see the engine. Now, the engine is quite interesting indeed. That's a 3.8 liter twin turbo M838T engine, which is derived from the Nissan race motors that went into the R390. I did have to Wikipedia that. So this engine makes around 592 horsepower bone stock, but this one is not exactly bone stock. Well, it is and it isn't, because this is the second engine. I think the first engine went kablooey, and the second engine that McLaren put in was the 650S spec. They upgraded it. They upgraded all the 12Cs to reflect the new 650S spec, which means that this has a little bit more power, a little bit more torque, and essentially the same reliability. So you're not stressing any components, and it makes the same sort of noise. It just goes faster. And all that power and all that noise go to these boys right here. These are center exhausts. I can't tell you how many cars I would love to have center exhausts on, but they just don't look right. In this car, it's not an afterthought. In this car, it was made specifically with the center exhaust in mind, and they even have this little protective shield in case you get the flamies coming out of there and they don't burn your bumper. So that's nice of McLaren to do. And if we come to the front, we see these awesome, well, awesome might not be the word, interestingly shaped spoked wheels. This shape is, well, they have a word for this on the McLaren forum, and I'm not going to say it, but it rhymes with meanness. And behind those wheels are some big brakes. Now, these are just the stock base model brakes. You can get uprated carbon ceramics, but honestly, for the money, I would just get the steel ones. They're going to be plenty of braking, and you're not going to want for anything else unless you're going to a track. So since McLaren wanted this car to be a really good road car, check out this key, by the way. This thing looks awesome. It's all carbon fiber, and actually it looks a little bit like the car. So since they wanted it to be a good road car, they equipped it with a really, really generous trunk. This might not look like a lot, but this is almost 2.5 times what I get in the Gallardo over there. The Mercy has a decent amount of trunk space, but this is next level. You can actually put 2 carry-on bags. You could take a road trip in this car. Now, this McLaren bag is, well, Tyler just likes to cover his cars. I don't like to cover my cars, obviously. But you could legitimately do a trunk challenge in this car. I wouldn't recommend it, though, because this is, well, let's just say you can hit your head and create a large dent. So, to close this, there's a secret, because you can just close it halfway, and then the computer's gonna yell at you to say that you don't have everything closed. So, what you gotta do is one CPR pump right here on the McLaren logo, just bam, closed. So one thing McLaren wanted to do better than anybody else in this car, in this segment at least, was the handling. This car could outmaneuver a Ferrari 458, and it was faster than anything on the Top Gear test track because that's where it was developed. And the handling is quite interesting indeed because behind those wheels, you can't see it here, but there are hydropneumatic dampers, meaning that they have hydropneumatic fluid, just basically really high pressure fluid going through all four corners, and there's no sway bars. You can have really good ride comfort. These wheels soak up the bumps very well, and then when you go on track, this thing is stiff as a board. Stiff as a plank. Nobody planks anymore. Now, since I have this car on loan from Tyler, and Tyler's actually on his way here right now, I figure I should probably not burn daylight, and I should get in this car and go for a drive. Okay, before I go on a drive, I want to make sure that, well, we don't have any incidents, because last time Tyler gave one of his cars to a YouTuber, it didn't really end well. So, okay, we'll just take this, and let's see if I can open this up. First try. Ah, those doors are just the best. Okay, let's see if I can get in without breaking a bone. And, in there. Okay, we're just gonna set that right there, just in case we're gonna need it. And one weird thing about this is that you really have to slam the door on this car, and it feels like you're gonna break something, because otherwise it just closes halfway. So you really have to, ooh, that does not sound very good. All right, so welcome to the future. Everything here is carbon fiber, and it looks amazing. I really like this saddle interior, and I love the design in here. It really feels like a cockpit. You have your AC controls right here, you have your door opener right here, and you have your window switches right here, which is a little bit weird that the window switches are behind the door opener, because if you want to go for your window switches, you might end up opening the door. So that's, and it's a little odd. So down here, you have your start engine. That's the important bit. And you have your handling and power settings. So you have normal, sport, and track on both of these. And you can do an arrow thing where the wing does a thing, I don't know. And you can do manual, which if you put it in sport, it automatically goes to manual, in which you use the paddle shifters to shift up and down, which you should always, always, always do. So you also have winter. That's not a thing here, and launch control. And launch is something I would like to use, but it's not my car and I don't want to break it, so we're probably not going to use that right now, but we're definitely going to go active. Let's start this car up. There we go. And behind me is that flat plane crank. It sounds so awesome. Woo! Wow. Okay, so seatbelt on. And we're going to put it into active, which puts it into sport mode, and that means that I have to shift the gears manually. And I'm going to take off the brake, put it into drive. There is a lot of buttons. There are a lot of button presses they have to do in this car. All right, now we're in first. So one thing I like is that this dual clutch gearbox, it's super easy to use. It is very, very usable day to day, and it doesn't have a really bad lurch. Usually a lot of these double clutch gearboxes, they just want to kind of push you into the next car, but this is totally fine. And second. So one thing that's pretty cool about the paddle shifting system is that you can go up or down on any of the paddles. Let's say I want to go to second, I just do this. Or I could just do this on one paddle, and it's on one sort of plane, so that means that it cantilevers over. So when you're pressing one in, you're pulling the other. It's kind of cool. So let's get on the road, and I'm going to show you what this thing is all about as far as just living day to day. So this is a double clutch 7-speed SSG gearbox, and it's a pretty good unit. It is a little bit different than the DSGs or DCT gearboxes that Germany puts out, but one thing I love is that you can't feel the shifts at all. The shifts are imperceptible. Let's say I want to go to fifth. I could not feel any sort of shift jerk, any sort of lag. It's just instant, and even when I'm off the throttle, it just does its thing. But one thing that's a little bit different about this transmission in this particular car, because McLaren actually changed this feature in their later model cars, is the fact that you can preload these gears. So I can half press up or down, which means that if I half press and I'm anticipating a gear shift, the car knows that, and then I just press it down once and it's instant. Watch this, and press. Bam, right there. And we go into 6 now. So that is super quick. Now I know that on the 650S, they just made it so one click up and one click down. They took away that functionality, but it really is kind of cool. Now I picked a great time to go out. There's a lot of rush hour traffic coming back. So we're gonna put it into automatic. We're gonna turn active off. We're gonna see how this thing just cruises. Now the suspension is in normal mode, the powertrain is in normal mode, and it is seriously very comfortable in here. I don't know if seriously is a word I want to use, but it's extremely comfortable in here. It just feels like it's wafting you along. It feels firm because of the wheels and the tires. They are low profile tires, and the P0s are a little bit harder than what you'd usually expect, but it's performing beautifully. This thing is amazing. And wow, okay. That is a fast car. What's really interesting about this car is the fact that you don't notice how well it picks up speed because the road holding ability is just insane. This feels like I'm going 30, but wow. If not for the G-forces that are pinning me back to my seat, I really would not know how fast I'm going. And even though it's a twin turbo, there's zero turbo lag. The turbos are quite small, but they provide a lot of boost. I believe it's somewhere in the range of 20 PSI, which is sort of insane when you think that this is a V8. And high revving at that. You can sort of hear the turbos back there. One complaint that I have, it's not even a complaint, it's more like a gripe. Very, very minor. But I'd love to hear more of the turbo noise. I'd love to have a freer exhaust on this car, so I'm probably gonna tell that to Tyler. But another thing is, probably get some better tires. He needs some Michelins in his life. These P0s are a little bit on the hard side. It is a little bit chilly out here, but it's not that bad. And yeah, they're kind of letting me know that they're not happy with the road surface. But the car is soaking up bumps quite well. Just slow it down for a residential zone, and I'm going to go over some bumps to show you what this car is like. So let's take it off active, put everything into grandma mode, and I'm going specifically over these bumps, and you can't feel anything other than you hearing stuff from the tires. You can't feel anything at all. It's not like an S-Class, but it is better than any supercar I've ever driven as far as ride quality when it's in normal mode. And to think that this is McLaren's first foray into this market, that's just insane. With McLaren, every single car afterwards has been a step up. It's sort of like Tesla. Their first car was pretty good, then it got better, then it got better. This car is great, but now McLaren's cars are just world-beating. They are insane. In any RPM, in any gear, it just... Woo! It just takes right off! Now you can really hear those turbos back there. You probably can't hear them too well on the GoPro mic. The revviness of that engine. I need a flat plane crank in my life badly. Downshift. You get a little crackle from the exhaust. It sounds so amazing. I think it needs to be about 15 to 20% more, just more of that. You hear the blow-off valves or diverter valves going off in the engine, and it feels heavenly. And this is a stock car. The fact that you can buy one of these for 100 grand, this is so much car for the money. I mean, it looks like it could be made today. It looks brand new. It drives like it's brand new. Everything is carbon fiber. It's super space age. I mean, the build quality in this and the design language, it feels like it was made 100 years after my Gallardo was made. And it drives so much smoother. Obviously, it's a different type of car. That's a manual. This is a futuristic double clutch, but it just is a totally awesome experience. And even when you have traffic in front of you, you can't really give it any of the beans. You still can enjoy every second of it because it's such an awesome experience. Supercars are pretty good. They ain't bad. So for those of you with fast cars, with, let's say, an Evo that I just drove a few weeks ago, that is nothing in comparison to this. The entire experience is completely different. You're hunkered down. It doesn't feel like, there's nothing in this car that feels cheap. Everything is a premium item. The leather, the carbon fiber, everything just gives you the experience that you're in something special. People look around at you. People stare at the car because they know it's something special, even if they don't know what kind of car it is. This is next level, and for 100 grand, man, you can't beat this. You can't beat this traffic though. That I can beat. Or maybe I can't because I'm stuck in it. All right, now we can put it into track just to see what the difference is. I think the firmness of the shifts and the firmness of the suspension. So let's see if it gives us any more of that good. Holy crap! Yeah, it's good. It's good. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's good. So the question remains, would I buy one of these cars? And the answer is no, I would not. But I would buy a 650S because the 650S is this plus a little bit more. Everything is a little bit better. The Focus is better. 650 has a better front end. It has better suspension, better revised suspension, better brakes, and it has a better engine note. I mean, you can get them with the sport exhaust that sound a little bit throatier, and the interior is also a little bit better in its own way, even though it's very, very similar to what we have here. Plus, you can get them in the 130 to 170 range. This you could probably get in the 100 to 120 range. So if you can spare a little bit more money, a little bit meaning $20,000 to $50,000, then you can get a lot more car. But that's just my humble opinion. I loved my time with this car, and I definitely need a McLaren in my life. So stay tuned for maybe some McLaren content on my channel in the upcoming year. Depending on if I find one cheap or not. I don't know. These things are hard to find cheap. I don't know how Tyler did it. But if you want to contact me, you can do so at the links down below. And until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on cars like these, and all my cars in that dark garage over there, you guys need to wrench every day.